welcome everyone to the second of the show of the Mo and Simon show. It's July 7th, and I'm just sharing my screen because I wanted to show everybody the market quotes. But my name is Mo Agostino, Chief Commodity Strategist with Farms.com Risk Management. We got Dr. Simon Atkins from Advanced Forecasting going to talk about the weather. And so I'm going to just, we don't have a lot of time today. It's only about a 15-minute webinar, but I'm going to start it off by me just talking about the weather briefly. Markets briefly, and then I'm going to pass it along to Simon. Simon can give us an update, and then I'll do a quick update also on my tour and what I've seen so far. So you can see the markets rallying here. This morning, corn's up about 14. We got beans up 37, and we finally got a rally in the wheat. I mean, what a disaster in the wheat market. But so I think what's happened is, my concern is that the funds have moved away from that inflation, war in Ukraine, trade, to this new global recession fear. And they're reminded of 2008. In 2008, corn went from 8 to 290 by the fall. And that slowdown, that financial crisis, basically destroyed ag demand. When you don't have ag demand, who needs production? And so that's my biggest fear. And so if I bring up the chart, December corn chart, for just a brief moment, you can see the big collapse here, right here. So I'm going to just do one quick, I'm going to do a Fibonacci retracement for you guys. So I'll take the top, draw the bottom. And so the market could maybe bounce back to the old support at 649, 650, which now becomes a new resistance. And so this shows up around 645. If you get that bounce between now and next Tuesday's July USDA crop report, I'm concerned about that crop report because I don't know if the USDA is going to tell you the story. I'm afraid they could come in with a 180 yield. I'll be honest with you. And the market's not going to like that. And so what you're going to start to see is, if I draw the lines here, okay, you're starting to see this downward sloping downtrend. So what the market will do is, it's traded to the low end of that downward sloping downtrend. It'll then recover, hit the upper end of that range, which is, and sometimes it's not perfect. It may overshoot it. Let's call it 650. They will then resume that downtrend. Now, so what you're hitting is, when you go up, you hit this lower, higher close. And each time you do that, you continue to go lower. And this time of the year, it's seasonality, and this thing can keep going lower. So don't think that just because you get in a rally today, that this is a change in trend. I don't think it is. The only positive news out of this decline here is it was low volume. Let me talk about what I just, I'm going to stop sharing here. But let me talk about the tour. I've gone through Ohio, Southern Indiana, Southern Illinois, and Central Illinois. 2 planting seasons. The early stuff looks better than the later stuff. The later stuff's struggling. The farmer's saying, Mo, it's dry, dry, dry. I need some rain. The worst of it was that Mason City north into Champaign, Urbana, Illinois. I've never seen cornfields, entire cornfields, that are curling and pineappling. That's how dry it is. So there are some areas that are dry, but if I go west of Champaign, Western Illinois, and then you start going southwestern down into Missouri, that area looks good. I went through a rainstorm yesterday, and the crops are not stressing at all. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but overall, I'm not driving around seeing crops that are dying, to be honest with you. So Simon, why don't you provide an update on the weather? I'm going to be traveling through Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota before we get to our next webinar.
Jolly good, Mo. Well, you know, it's great to be on here for the second time. Let's talk about the weather and different things that are going on. You know, Mo, I'm going to surprise you here and just tell everybody to look up the story about Cern. And a lot of people don't know about Cern, and you may say, well, what the hell do we need to learn about Cern for? Well, this is Cern. All right, it's a hadron collider where they say that they collide different elements of ions and electrons. Okay, they do it all underground, and they are planning this bigger one. So this is about 27, 30 kilometers, and this new one that they're building is 100. And what are they doing? Okay, this is, Mo, you and I have talked many times before, and we say always ask the most important questions that are not being asked. All right, and I'm going to put out something to everybody that you talk to. Too many weird things are going on. All right. And, there's going to be a lot of people out here that say, well, what are these Georgia Guidestones? I've never even heard of them. Look it up. We need to empower ourselves with new information rather than just following the sheep or the funds and just getting into, sort of this one track. It's like the corn, it's like taking your pickup truck and finding a new way through the center of your cornfield. They just got blown up. Okay, these were like these ritual stones down somewhere in the southeast, I think it's in Georgia, and they said, listen, we've got to make a population of only 500 million people. It was like these elitists. Well, anyway, somehow it got blown up and then they leveled it. Look it up. The other thing, Mo, is Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, just resigned. All right, now my question to you is, who would have ever predicted that? All right, what would we have betted on? And the whole theme is, as I go into the weather today, is what are the funds really doing? What do they know? Are they trying to trick us? And I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm not sort of saying, hey, somebody's wrong, or you're wrong, or I'm wrong. I'm just saying, let's think this out together. There was this severe derecho, which luckily didn't hit you, Mo. And let's put a little sort of wave of protection on you on the road there, because there have been some nasty thunderstorms. But the sky turned green. If you look it up on Google, there's no scientific explanation for this. And this is where I really sort of say, all right, this is my specialty. Right? NOAA has flip-flopped 3 times on its July forecast. They went hotter and drier in June, then they went to a cooler and wetter pattern, and now they're going warmer and drier. And the thing that worries me, all right, and we all have worries, is that because of the late start in the crop for many areas, especially Western Corn Belt, when we go drier and hotter, and I'm going to show you this today in the second half of July, I think that we're going to exacerbate this dry theme. I mean, it's not like I can tell Mr. Joe Schmo or Mr. Lee somebody, hey, no worries about the dryness. It's happening. And so what we calculate, Mo, is that 22% of the entire Corn Belt is getting above normal rains, or has gotten above normal rains as of yesterday in the last 15 days, 22%. And about 58% is below normal, and the rest is kind of near normal. So, it's a gauge. We've gotten a little bit better than we did in June, where it was the 3rd driest since 88. But my point is that we've got this band, and I always say it's a sandwich. It's a heat sandwich in the South. This is just taken place today, about 45 minutes ago.
Simon, can I stop you first?
Yeah, please. Yeah, always feel free to interrupt.
By the way, folks, Simon's been calling for more of these derechos, so I'm not surprised that that last derecho happened. And that happened literally within a month's time, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. My question to you is, in June, it was the 3rd driest. You just gave me some great percentages here. Yeah. Do you know those percentages for June?
Oh, I don't, but I can certainly get them to you. They're higher on the below normal side. I think it's somewhere around 77% below normal of the Midwest. If you take all of the Corn Belt as we do. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, this purple, Mo, and everybody listening, are excessive heat warnings. You really have to get the National Weather Service riled up to put these in. And the point is that as you get this lift, remember the solar angle is heating things up from south to north. Okay, that's how the atmosphere works. And so when you got this sandwich, This is all going north. Now, right now, it can't because, okay, if you want to, it depends what side of the coin you want to focus in. Yes, it's raining like cats and dogs. And some of these places, like this county right here and this county right here, pardon me for not knowing the names, they may get 4 to 5 inches, Mo, over the next 72 hours. But it's going to be very isolated. And in fact, we calculated that only 7% of the central Midwest, which is right here, is going to receive above normal rain, 7%. Now, do we concentrate on that, or do we concentrate on what Mother Nature is planting in the background? We're going to have this big drying. Look at this. This is the last 30 days, and this was current as of yesterday midnight. Now, the white is normal, right? But the browns are below normal. And, you know, when I go back in the previous years, Mo, I really want to start seeing some greens at this time of the year, like we're seeing, obviously, in the last 7 days. And this is that southwest monsoon moisture that the GFS and the Euro overplugged. Right now, we're going back day after day. And it was actually on average in the last 4 days, if we go back in a 10-day forecast in the Euro, it was actually 39% more forecasted for rain than actually is what's happening. Right? That's a sizable amount, too much on the wet side. And so, yes, we've got some decent rains. Here was this derecho, and it went down like here, all right, and produced some pretty good rains. But what I don't like is all of this. And this is all coming northward. So right now, I think we're on the line mode. You can say, all right, let's focus on the rains. But again, small percentages, narrow bands. Or we can say, uh-oh, I don't like this heat building in the south. It's going to be 105 degrees almost every single day in Dallas. Where's that heat going, right? We have to keep track of all the ducks, where they're going. And so what we do is we look at it from a magnetic perspective. Now, remember, we're recording this, Mo. I just wanted to tell everybody so that they can come back to these slides. You don't have to read every little part right now. We want to try to give you as much information as we can. But this is what we've got. And we always give these kind of funny names to it, but it's easy to remember. It's a double ring, positive ionic circulation wheel. All right, let's take that down. Here's your double wheel. Here's your inner wheel. And here's your outer wheel that goes out to the Pacific and down. All right, so you got these two wheels. And you know, it's like when you, I don't know how often you wash your car, Mo. You should probably wash it more often. You know that? But when you're getting a sponge and you wring it out, okay, what do? We usually do it 2 or 3 times, right, to get it really nice and dry. That's what the atmosphere is doing now. The only problem is that when you've got these 2 big wheels and it's wringing them out, positive ions is heat and drought. That's what the reds are. The deeper the red, the more the drying. But it's circulating all of this. Now, right now, as you can see, Western Illinois, it's blue. So they are actually going to get wetter, all right, in the next, let's say, 10 days. So Illinois is probably going to go, their ratings are going to go up in about a week because we've got some negative ions here. Yep. But what's happening is these oranges are coming out really fast, all right? So you're going to see a huge amount of drying after about 72 hours in Iowa. And you're going to get these pulses of heat. And after about the 16th, 17th, it's always 10 days after the activation, which is today or tomorrow. And it's always 10 days afterwards where you get a big surge in heat. So everybody in Iowa, listen up. Around the 18th, 19th of July, you're going to get into the mid to upper 90s. And, you know, I can't change that, Mo. It's being recorded right now. So I can't say, hey, I didn't say that. Look at this heat coming in. Okay. Now, yes, it's cooler here. And we've seen lots of coolness coming down. I think actually, Mo, if you call your family back home, haven't they saying that it's kind of been cool in Toronto?
They've been getting the odd rain, but
yeah.
I looked at the forecast, but it's no, it's 70s, 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a couple of Celsius below normal. Now, remember, look at this heat here, okay? It's hotter in Nunavut, I think I said that right, up here in northern Canada, than it is in Iowa right now. And what this does, Mo, is it brings up this heat, like it keeps leapfrogging, like climbing up a ladder, because this is a big attractor, Positive ions love positive ions. So they attract each other, and it's like putting the extension cord into the socket. This is the mega 105. This is 105 to 110 here. And this is all shooting out. It's not going to get to 105 in Iowa, but in late July, there's going to be a 10-day span that I'm going to show you right now that's going to be actually like a few days near 100, 102. Let's go over the precip first. And I think, Mo, the most important slide is this right here. Now, keep an eye on this. I'm going to let go of my mouse. Anywhere in blue, okay, is 1/3 of an inch. See this on the right-hand side? So again, let me label this. We've got over 85% of the Midwest going major dry. The GFS agrees, the Euro agrees. And I think, Mo, to be honest, this is why some of those other guys out there are starting to flip-flop again. We won't say names to protect the innocent, but they're basically flip-flopping to say, well, maybe our original forecast for July was kind of like more accurate. So they're on the line. See, everybody's on the line. And when everybody's on the line, it gets like a little bit confusing because Doug tells Joe and Joe tells Mary and Mary tells Peter, and the story kind of changes. And it's like nobody really knows what's going on. But that's why it's important that we break it down. Let's go over the next 30 days, and then I'm going to take it back to you. So basically, this is the past 10 days, all right, as per the temperature. We've had, temperatures going up, but as soon as they get up to the upper Midwest, they haven't really exploded yet, okay? Is our forecast a little bit behind? Yes. It's about a week and a half behind what we had said in April. I'll always say, whether our forecast has been excellent, it's been about 82% accurate. So this cooler air has been dipping down, as you can see. But look what happens. We start by going up in the next 10 days. We start taking this heat here and we start leapfrogging it. This is why, for example, like places like Sioux Falls or places in Southeast, let's say Des Moines, Iowa, are going to be seeing high 90s or mid 90s, near 100 degrees, a couple of days, and then it drops back down to the 80s. It's because this sort of like this cooler air is intermingling in the heat. But look what happens during the pollination. It is going to go really hot with 92% confidence. And this heat here is going to be coming into Chicago. So we're going to see more 90-degree days in Chicago. And remember the wringing out of the sponge. Now, again, Mo, this is an edge, right? What we're describing to your clients today is probably not going to be a decision that most will make yet. But because we're operating and forecasting at the energy level, it's almost like trying to find out, like I said to you last time, what is the reason if somebody has multiple migraines or headaches? People just start popping pills. Okay, let's get rid of the migraine. But they don't go down to the root source of why those migraines are occurring. And we're going down to the energy level. Look at this, Mo. This was a shocker. This was a shocker because it was 22% hotter than our original forecast. It is going to be blazing hot. And I think that some days here between the 27th and the 4th of August are going to be near 100, 102 in Des Moines. Now, I don't want to push the panic button because I don't have one of those red buttons here. But I will say I am a little bit worried that, there's going to be this flip-flop and people are going to say, it's getting a bit hot in town. It's getting a bit dry, a bit uncomfortable.
Okay. So, Simon, I think you're going to get to it. But during that period from, let's say, July 17th to August 5th, how much precipitation is going to fall?
Well, we're going to have about 31% of the central Midwest seeing normal conditions, normal rainfall. Only 8% is above normal. And that would be about 2/3 below normal to much below normal. All right. So, I can't tell you which county is going to get that sort of that fractional 8% above normal, but it's more likely to be from Western Illinois eastward into the Eastern Corn Belt. In other words, the drying is happening from a southwest to northeast trajectory, all right, like this. Let me draw that in here for everybody. This is where the heat's coming in, all right, at the lower levels. At the upper levels, it's coming up from the Gulf, and that's why some mornings has been literally in the 70s here, all right? You've probably seen this. Where are you right now, Mo, again?
So I'm in Missouri.
Yeah, so you're right here. What was the temperature when you got up this morning?
I'd have to check. Give me one sec.
Yeah. Not to put you on the line there, but it was probably really humid and pretty warm. And so you've got this sort of air flowing up from the south at the upper levels, and that's depositing all this humidity. Let me go on, though, to the precip while you're finding that, so we can keep the news here. Look at this. All right, so this was most of the area going dry in the last 10 days. We saw these, this is this derecho, okay, that was correctly forecast. Here's the rainfall up here that's still remaining quite high in Western and Central Canada. And then you see in the next 10 days, this ridge. Now, you may say, well, look at this rain. Yes, this is today into tomorrow, right? After that, it ends. And then look, this is your pollination map. This is probably the first or second most important map, Mo, I would say, that, you know, we need to tell everybody out there. And again, could this change? Anything can change. But we do this and we basically run the model until we're 80% confident that this makes sense. And you can see the big drying out there. Now, in early August is where that change starts to occur. You start getting these huge rains coming from canola crop fields into the upper Midwest, but we still got a lot of drying, even probably until about the 10th of August. And then we start to flip-flop the whole thing. Real quickly, Mo, and I'm going to end in 2 minutes. Yeah, go to your question first.
Yeah, no, so 78 degrees this morning. Looking to go to 88 degrees this afternoon.
That's only yeah, so the humidity will probably tap it off and you'll get some thunder showers, but 77, wow.
So as I travel through the Western Corn Belt over the next, 4 or 5 days, what are you expecting?
Yeah, so you're going to see basically a drying out, all right? You'll see more days without rain. You'll see temperate to moderate pulses of heat through about mid-month, and then boom, it activates. And it's literally going to be 9-10 days from today is where it goes much hotter and much drier. And that's really probably going to come into the news Sunday night and the Monday, all right? And it could affect the sort of the ambience for the Tuesday big report. Real quickly, Mo, here's our July forecast saying that most of the Midwest will be above normal in July. And here's our forecast that we went over more in detail last week. Lots of drying in the Western Corn Belt, Eastern Corn Belt, seems like it's okay. Here's these derechos, okay? Here's these thunderstorms that are going to hit sort of southeast Iowa into Illinois. So I'm not too worried about Illinois right now, but further west I am. And that's what I just said, is it will be drying out. Don't forget, Mo, thanks a lot for sending these top 10 to your clients. You can watch the video here. You've got the main weather details, and then you've got the summary here. These top 10 will educate you in many different ways, and we hope that you'll like that video too. All right, Mo, I'm going to turn it back to you, Squire, for any further remarks.
Great. Thank you, Simon. Is that the latest video, Simon?
Yes, it is. Yep. And I'll have another one late today, I think.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks, everybody, for spending some time with us. Stay cool, and we'll see you next time.